Welcome to The Purpose and the Pivot, the podcast for women who know it's time for more. With your host, C. Renee McLain, career and life coach and champion for women navigating change with confidence and clarity. Each week, we'll have real conversations about career moves, life transitions, mindset shifts, and the power of redefining your purpose at every stage of life. Whether you're pivoting professionally, personally, or both, this is your space for guidance, growth, and grounded support. Let's dive in.
Welcome to The Purpose and the Pivot. Today's episode is career branding. How to tell your professional story. Yes. So let's get into it. Why career branding matters. And what is career branding? Career branding is not about bragging, exaggerating, or putting on a performance. Career branding is about clarity, consistency, and ownership. Yes. Clarity, consistency, and ownership. So self-promotion says, look at me. But career branding says, here's how I create value. So when you don't clearly articulate your professional story, others will fill in the gaps. And often it will be incorrect or incomplete. So career branding ensures your work, your strengths, and impact are accurately understood, not assumed. For many women, especially high performers, right? Self-promotion can feel uncomfortable because it's been culturally framed as arrogance. Career branding reframes visibility as responsibility. Yes. If you don't name your contributions, decision makers can't advocate for you, sponsor you, or position you for outcomes. So, career branding is translating your work into outcomes that others can recognize. It's making your value visible so it is not overlooked. Career branding is also helping the right opportunities find you. And it's also about aligning how you see yourself with how the world sees you. It's not about talking more. It's about talking with intention. Yes. And when that's done well, career branding feels grounded. Yes, grounded, factual, and confident. You're not inflating your experience, you're owning it. And owning your story isn't ego, it's leadership. Yeah. So let's get into your professional story and the foundation of it. So what's important for you to do is to identify your core narrative. What does that mean, Renee? Your skills, your value, and your impact. Yeah. And then what you want to do, you want to connect your past roles to a cohesive theme, not a job list. And then there's the so what test. The so what test is translating tasks into outcomes. Yeah. And then you also want to align your story with where you're going, not just where you've been. Because you're capable of doing more, so much more than what you've already done. Oh, yeah. So now I want to get into your LinkedIn presence, your first digital impression. We're talking about professionalism. So a professional digital platform, which is LinkedIn. Okay. So what you want to do, those that utilize LinkedIn, and, if you are in corporate America, even if you are an entrepreneur, you still should have LinkedIn presence. And what you want to do with your headline, for instance, you want to move your headline from a job title to a value statement. Okay. So for instance, my LinkedIn headline says transformational certified career and life coach, coaching that empowers you to thrive in work and in life. Okay, that's an example. So I don't just have on there career and life coach. I mean, that is so bland, right? Okay, so you want to make sure that it is something that is a value statement, not just a job title. Okay, and then your about section. This should be written in first person with confidence. Okay, this is your profile. It is your opportunity to tell others about you. It should not be written in third person as if someone else is writing about you. I've seen that and I'm like, why? It's your information, and that information you are writing. So it should be in first person. Okay. And then your experience section, that should be impact driven bullets versus responsibilities. In other words, what have you accomplished versus your job description? Okay. Nobody wants to read the job description. If a recruiter is looking for you, they already have the job description of the job that they need to fill, right? And so they're going to match it with your experience, your impactful experience, and how that aligns to that job description that they have. Okay. And then you want to use some featured content and posts and comments to reinforce your brand. In other words, post things that reflect you and who you are and what you're about. Okay. And then comment on posts that you see other people posting. Okay. And so you want to make sure that things are aligned. Okay. Consistency matters across LinkedIn, your resume, and also how you show up in conversations, and particularly interview conversations as well. Okay. All right. So now we're going to get into your resume, and your resume should be storytelling. Yeah. You want to turn that experience into impact, right? So again, shift from duties to results and transformation. You want to use metrics, scope, and outcomes to tell your story. Okay. You want to craft a strong opening summary. So your summary is at the top of your resume, and it should include what it is. It's just a summary. So it's a brief synopsis of your experience, but it has to be strong and impactful. It has to grab the attention of the recruiter that is reading the resume, because guess what? They only spend seconds reading resumes. Okay. And then you want to tailor your story for different roles without losing your authenticity. All right. Which you want to show growth and pivots confidently. And yes, you can do that in your resume. Yes, you can. Yep. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is speaking confidently about your achievements. All right. So when you are in an interview, for instance, I want you to overcome discomfort with self-advocacy. We can advocate for ourselves, because basically when we are interviewing, or even if we're meeting someone and it's a networking event or something like that, we have to promote ourselves, right? We have to tell people about us and feel confident and comfortable doing so, right? So when you prepare your 30-second elevator pitch, typically that's used in an interview for you to answer the intro to the interview conversation. Tell me about yourself, right? So you want to have a strong 30-second elevator pitch, if you will, so that you can tell them about yourself as it relates to their position, right? Showing some impactful things that you have done, right? And it's also good for you to have that 30-second elevator pitch when you are networking as well, when people are asking you, what do you do, right? And a simple framework for talking about wins: think about the challenge, think about the action that you took, think about the result. Also, another way, think about a problem. Think about how you solved it. What was the solution? And then what was the impact as well, right? And so also when you are preparing achievement stories for interviews or networking, using the STAR method of interviewing, typically that's for interviews. And the STAR method, if anyone is unfamiliar with that, it's an acronym and it stands for situation, task, action, and result, right? So the STAR method of interviewing: situation is the S, task is the T, action is the A, and R is the is result, right? Result is the R. And you always want to end on a positive, okay? That result should always end on a positive. And then I want you to also practice confident language without over-explaining anything, right? Or apologizing for anything, okay? You're just going to use confident language, right? And when you are in an interview, I tell my clients all the time, do not take 3 to 5 minutes to answer questions in an interview. Really, you should be able to, when they ask you a type of scenario question, they're called behavioral based questions. Tell me about a time when, for example, you were working with someone whose approach, you were working on a team and you were working with someone whose approach to their work was a lot different than yours. How did you work through that? What was the outcome? And when you answer a question similar to that, you want to use confident language. You want to talk about the situation. You want to talk about the task that was at hand. You want to talk about the action that you took and then the end result, right? And then in all of that, you want to be able to tell that story within 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Yeah. 90 seconds to 2 minutes at the most. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is some common career branding mistakes that women make, because most of the time it is women. This podcast is geared toward women. It has helped some men because I've gotten feedback from men as well. But a lot of times men are more confident, even if they aren't qualified. And women seem to be intimidated even when they are qualified. That's my experience in working with candidates, of both genders. Okay. But anyway, these are some common career branding mistakes that typically women make. Okay. 1, downplaying accomplishments or using minimizing language. Why are you doing that? Stop it, right? Stop downplaying your accomplishments. And then waiting to be fully ready before sharing achievements. You don't have to be fully ready before you start sharing your achievements. If you're in the process of getting your certification, guess what? You are already in the process of getting that certification. So talk about it. You don't have to fully be ready. You don't have to fully have it. You're putting in the work. You're putting in the work now, right? And then another thing, over-crediting teams while erasing personal impact. Yeah. I mean, if you were on the team, you can still promote yourself as well as the team. Okay. And then confusing humility with invisibility. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be humble, and I understand that. You don't want to be thought of as arrogant, right? But you don't want to confuse humility with invisibility, like, hiding what you did. Because if you contributed, you want that to be known, okay? And then letting imposter syndrome narrate the story. These are just some of the branding mistakes that typically women make. And some people may not even know what imposter syndrome is. I didn't know. And the first time I heard that term, I was like, what is imposter syndrome? That's basically when people doubt their accomplishments and have a persistent, often internalized, I looked it up, y'all. So yes, I'm reading this. When people doubt their accomplishments and have a persistent, often internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Okay. You're not a fraud. Okay. Hear me. You are not a fraud. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes. Receive that. Okay. I'm going to say that again. You are not a fraud. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Okay. I want you to receive that. Yes. And then we want to move into reframing your confidence and your visibility. So how do you do that? Well, your confidence should be evidence-based, not personality-based. So basically, it's showing what you've done, the impact that you've made. We've already talked about that. And that's what your confidence should lie on. Let your work speak for itself or speak for you, right? It's obvious. Let it be obvious, right? And then check this out. You have permission to own your work without guilt. You do. You have permission. If nobody else has given you that permission, I give it to you today. You have permission to own your work without guilt. And then what you also want to do is rewrite your internal narratives that block that visibility that we were talking about. And then in reframing your confidence and visibility, I want you to see your story as a bridge to the next opportunity. Yeah, the next opportunity. Because you are always evolving, right? Yep. You are always evolving. So I would like to, as I get ready to close today, I just want to share that your career story is a living document. So what I encourage you to do is to revisit it regularly and make the necessary adjustments as things occur. Revisit it regularly and make the necessary adjustments. If you need to audit your LinkedIn, your resume, your elevator pitch, do that too for alignment when necessary. Yep. And then I want to give you one action step. One action step. And this may be difficult for some. And I understand if you're not used to being encouraged about your accomplishments or not used to being supported. Trust me, I get that. I really do. You have no idea. But I thank God for my husband, my biggest supporter and encourager. But this is the action step. This is what I want you to do. I want you to choose one achievement that you've accomplished and rewrite it more powerfully than you ever have before. Okay? Choose one achievement that you've accomplished and rewrite it more powerfully than you ever have before. And then after that, when you're done with that, this is what I want you to do also. I want you to pause. Yeah, pause. And be proud of your progress. Pause and be proud of your progress. Know that you are awesome, fabulous, and amazing, as my sister friend Michelle would say. Yes, whenever I ask her, how you doing, girl? Awesome, fabulous, and amazing. That's how she answers me. That's what I want you to know you are as well. You are awesome, you are fabulous, and you are amazing. Yes, 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 yes. If this episode has resonated with you today, I invite you to a complimentary strategic discovery consultation or a confidence building reset. So feel free to contact us at calendly.com/McLain Enterprises to schedule your appointment. I am C. Renee McLain. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for tuning in to The Purpose and the Pivot. If today's episode encouraged or inspired you, be sure to follow the show and share it with another woman who's navigating her own transition. For coaching support or to connect with C. Renee McLain directly, visit McLain Career and Life Coaching or schedule a consultation using the link in the show notes. Remember, your purpose evolves and you have permission to pivot. Until next time.